Antithesis, Crucifix, Journal of an Orthodox Melancholic by Valerie Lynn Stevens. Part 25. I believe in God because I have seen the devil. I believe in heaven because I have dwelt in hell. Which one is precedent, antecedent? But such a question cannot always be definitively answered when the sentient organs of the mortal human experience by truth's indiscriminate hand are dealt the first blows of the profane. Yet without first recognition of tragedy, even comedy turns tragic, and there is no immediate cause felt anymore for redeeming oneself. But perhaps we do not need tragedy of any turn or any kind. Perhaps the true tragedy is the absurd convictions with which we create something out of nothing for our own ravaging edification. But I suppose as long as its means justify its ends. But the question still remains, how, once the acknowledgement of all this remains, do we let it all go in that we may hold on? For the very act of surrender often requires an inscience of self-sense which we may not even be capable of, or which may not be in our best interest to coddle. Must this life be so consumed by this matter? The answer is always yes, if it matters. And of course, this is where the inherency of religious doctrination and strivings comes into play. The matter behind mind and the mind behind matter and what ultimately matters. The epic struggle between good and evil. The temporal versus the eternal, the material versus the discarnate. Indeed, many would posit that this struggle itself is at the heart of the very purpose of this human condition and existence itself. And such a statement, however seemingly reductionistic, betrays non-legitimacy and relevancy, as more than half of our very lives are directly or indirectly concerned with the aforementioned themes. And it cannot be denied that no matter how much we attempt to attribute the factor of nihility to our human existence, or to the machinations of the world or the universe, we still sense some pull towards a higher goal far from arbitrary. Even if we are suffering and have a will to die, we nevertheless feel the counterbalancing pull of life calling us back to it. I have finally concluded that the doctrine of atheism, and indeed it is the most dogmatic of them all, is the delusion of delusions, Satan's manifesto, his magnum opus. For even the most faithless very fervently believe in their disbelief. And who is to determine what is real and what is unreal? For is not the human imagination the realm of pure thought, that womb from whence all actuality is midwifed into being? If only both things could live in such harmony now in what we call the real world. For although a synthesis of so-called reality and fantasy can be achieved in some moments of numinosity, the deemed quixotic will, for the most part, always get short shrift. And for the artist, the so-called madman, the idealist, the romantic, the eccentric genius, the dreamer, this verity of ecumenical existence qualifies the world of living Gehenna. For him, though he is indeed blessed, he is equally, if not more so, cursed, due to his cognitive and existential dissonance and displacement, which he experiences daily. But he is fine again when he remembers that this earth is not our final destination by any means. It is merely a psycho-spiritual evolutionary tool with which he can choose to smith his soul to divine proportions, until such time as it is to return to celestial nativity.